Whoa! Winter is coming. Today, well, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, anyways. Today on GI Joburg, we are talking the Winter Operations Lion Land Fighter or Light Fighter, depending on what acronym you want to speak of. It's the Cobra W.O.L.F. all day at GI Joburg. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Paulie
Hey, what's up,
and Robert.
everybody?
No, what? We're talking about this thing.
Then he's
Crazy.
got his
Oh,
Cobra W.O.L.F.
Wolf.
in the studio.
The wolf. Nice.
There it
I know where
is.
Steve's one is. It's in Cape Town.
Yes,
Oops.
sadly. My Cobra W.O.L.F. is very far away from me in the lovely city of Cape Town, where Rob's resides actually as well. Paul, where's your Cobra W.O.L.F. on this fine, fine day?
Both of them are at my folks' place.
Both of them?
Both of them.
You have two?
Two wolves?
I have two. I have Cobra Wolves. I have
Are
my
they
vintage
wolves?
one, and I've got a modern era one,
Interesting.
which is currently crewed by the Baroness, and the modern
Fair
era Cobra Ice Viper. So
Beautiful. Beautiful choices for people to be in your wolf.
yeah, but believe it was actually here in Bravo for a while. I did have it here for a while because there was talks of snow. So I brought my wolf to this side, hoping that maybe it would snow in the garden and I could bring out the wolf and be like, but
It is a
alas,
magical
no.
thing
Mm.
to finally pass those skis over actual snow. Not
Ooh.
something to be taken for granted in the Southern Hemisphere, particularly in South Africa. Like, very few places get snow.
True.
You got to be pretty high
There's
up.
like mountains in Cape Town, like you can't really climb them easily. You're not gonna get there.
Nah. It's quite a drive. We don't have much of a snow sports scene, so it's not like you're gonna go on a ski trip and pack your Cobra Wolf and your Snowcat. No, that's not reality.
Not
So
gonna happen.
for the most part, we used to lay down white sheets, just pilfer my mother's linen cupboard for all
That
her white sheets.
was winter for us. That was snow for us.
I mean, it
Pure
had to
clean
look
sheets that have to be
maybe.
cleaned afterwards.
Yeah. Hell on the laundry immediately after play.
Ooh.
But it did have the right look. You know, a wolf
Mm.
should not be set against grass or
Mm-mm.
dirt or sand. It needs white.
Don't.
It needs
We
a white
never
sheet.
got the right feel, Rob. We never got the feel
Mm.
of carving the wolf through powder.
I still don't know what that feels. I have no idea what snow feels like.
And would you believe it? Neither do I. In spite of that intro
Oh.
sequence, which YouTube viewers might have been treated to if you were paying attention, that wasn't real snow that I was pushing the wolf through.
What?
It was fake snow. It's the same stuff that children's nappies are stuffed with. A super absorbent powder that turns into a gel.
You just tore up a bunch of your kids' nappies and just threw it around on the floor. And you're like,
What snow?
Can you believe it? On like Alibaba, you can buy jars of fake snow. Which is precisely what I did in China when filming a sequence for our
That's
Play Motion episode called Cold
Really?
Fire.
That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
and I think if memory serves, on the day that you left, it snowed, wasn't it? Something like that.
No, I had one snow day and I had to travel like an hour and a half. I took a bullet train, I took a bus,
Ooh.
I took a taxi, and then I took a mountain tram to get to snow. Like, I thought it would snow more in China. It really wasn't a very good snow season at all. Anyways, yeah, I was there for like 6 months
What do you
and
think?
had one snow day. Ridiculous. So I had to make up the sort of the bulk of the shooting with fake snow and a little area that I secluded myself against a river because I didn't have enough fake snow to kind of really carpet the entire area. So I had to have kind of a runoff and
Ooh.
mask it with rocks and things. So it was ridiculous. And I think I had some concerned citizens like reporting me to the authorities. Like, there's a white man by a river with this white powder. Some kind of
Gaijin playing with white powder.
Wilo.
chemical warfare. What's going on? Is South Africa invading?
There's a wino out here. He's drunk on wine.
Guilo.
Getting back to the wolf, I think this is a toy that I personally have a lot of history with. So I
Heavy.
think let's, by introduction, just talk about how we acquired this thing or our favorite memories of this thing. Rob, you want to kick us off?
Well, I've had this thing for such a long time. It's difficult to even remember when I got it. It's certainly been one of my favorite toys to own for at least a couple of months now. Stephen got this for me for my birthday, my 42, the meaning of life birthday that came around this year, 42. I had always treasured his one because I've been playing with it for my entire life. But it's just so cool to like own your own one, and it's such a great feeling to like own it because it's such a perfect vehicle. Like the shapes are wonderful. It's got its wonderful shape. It's fantastic. So yeah, I've owned it for a little bit, but no, I've played with my entire life. Steven's, I feel like he's always had one. And yeah, our favorite times are just kind of laying out, as you said, laying out the sheets and trying to play out snow games. Because also, I mean, in those early games, we didn't have the Joe equivalent, the
Snowcat.
Ice Viper, Snites, and Snowcat. So this was kind of the thing that kind of like ruled the snowways. I feel like we used the Shark 9000 as the GI Joe vehicle, the snow vehicle.
Wow.
Was it the Shark 9000?
Possibly. We kind
Or
of
that other
reasoned
weird
that because it
Cobra
was
one. Yeah, because it was a boat, it could kind of.
Cobra definitely ruled the snowy environment because we had the Ice Saber as well.
Yes.
So to match that, maybe yeah, because we reasoned that because the Shark 9000 was a white boat and it had a fan at the back that it could somehow propel itself over
on
land
the ground. Yeah.
or
So
over
otherwise,
snow.
GI Joe would have no answer to the overwhelming Cobra forces that were coming against them.
In the snow.
Because GI Joe still won in the end, so they must have had something up their sleeve. How good was the Shark 9000?
Personnel. They had Avalanche, they had Sub-Zero. Who else did we have in the snow? I think we had some Star Wars figures mixed in from time to time.
I'm sure you guys did. That sounds like a good idea, though.
Sounds
did you guys
like a
have
good
that Star Wars, the Snow Trooper, the cool one with the long?
Ooh, I don't
Later.
think we had any vehicles that came with that. Yeah, maybe later on. I mean, did he come out in the 90s with the
I believe he did.
re-releases?
I got him for my, I'm gonna say 13th or 14th birthday from my brother. He was in the UK.
Yeah.
We could talk about the Snow Trooper if you like.
And
And this was the Power of the Force version. This was the later one. Great helmet design.
Yeah, agreed. And it fits in. I've always felt that it kind of fits in well with the GI Joe aesthetic as well. Just that design. Like Star Wars stuff is very Star Warsy, but that specific Snow Trooper has something that kind of makes it.
Yeah, it kind of jumps the line. There's something less Star Warsy about it and almost more realistic. Yeah.
The helmet design with that sort of, I don't know, smock or whatever you call it, does kind of evoke Cobra Commander. And they even joked about it in Toy Fair magazine that the Snow Trooper is what you get when, I don't know, Zartan Destro play the old flower bucket over the door trick on Cobra Commander. Poof, you know? You know what I mean? Because, it's Cobra Commander, but like completely white. But, yeah, look, the fact that the armor, it's an armored torso, made you get away with the buff 90s Star Wars aesthetic a bit better in the case of the Snow Trooper. I mean, he is going to be heavily padded working in the snow anyway. But this isn't a podcast about a Star Wars figure from 1997. No.
Not at all. We're talking about the Wolf.
The reason I kind of
your Wolf, Stephen?
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna jump into just because the whole thing when you guys were talking about how you guys enjoyed it and you mixed in like some Star Wars figures. This vehicle reminds me a lot of the Snow Speeder from Star Wars, the Wolf itself. It's got a Snow Speeder-esque vibe, and that, like, I know when I got mine, and you know, Steve, I got it through Steve. We did an order on eBay when he was up here in Joburg. I loved that it was actually really cheap. I remember this thing being like ridiculous. I think it was like 200 Rand or something stupid to get one. somewhere around that. But I did like
Oh,
when I had it
gosh.
in hand at home. I like started thinking of Shadows of the Empire and that whole section with the snow speeder when you're behind it. It kind of had that vibe. Anyway, Steve, Rob wanted to know when you got your wolf.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
cut
I
the
can
always-
tail.
back you up on that, Paul. I mean, we might as well just punctuate your acquisition story by saying it was
Tell us.
from Dan. Dan from
Mm.
Quality Joe's.
Dan.
I got a whale and you got a wolf. Two
Mm.
acronyms starting with the letter W.
W.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great deal. He managed to keep his prices quite competitive at a time when they started to surge forward. So thanks,
Hmm.
Dan. And fantastic specimens both.
Oh yeah.
Any hooch, my wolf I got in Christmas of 1992 in a
Ooh.
toy shop somewhere in Johannesburg. It was in an
Wow.
Action Force box. It has the same artwork as the United States box. But it was the first, and certainly at that point, the most substantial Cobra vehicle that I ever got. I hadn't gotten anything Cobra to that point. I think I had a pulverizer and a tiger paw and a tiger sting. And getting this thing suddenly leveled me up. Cobra had a weapon that was far superior to anything Joe had to counter it. It had missiles, it had ski pedos, it had guns. It could seat two occupants comfortably in their own unique little like battle pods. Love the cockpits on this thing. And yes, Paul, it absolutely does have resonances of the Snowspeeder because it's got the back turret similar to the harpoon gun. You've got
Yes,
your
it's
pilot
two.
and gunner in tandem seating, one in front of the other. It has jet engines, okay, as their
Two jet
propulsion.
engines.
Which
My backpack's got jets.
for a land vehicle, a jet engine would be in danger of making this thing take off at all times. The kind of power, the kind of thrust that this thing could put out, with two of them, it would be struggling to stay grounded. Maybe part of its design is it basically is a big spoiler to create downforce.
Yeah.
And that's why it has that strong sloping structure and like I don't know this hole at the bottom basically. Maybe that's
Put
got
your
something to
weed
do with it.
there.
Maybe the engines are always thrusting at a very very low power. Like it's basically like taxi speed because you don't want to put on takeoff speed. No, no,
Oh,
no.
Go
taxi
crazy,
speed.
guys.
Sorry, I was thinking taxi speed, like South African taxi speed.
Uber, taxi, yeah.
Ooh, fast. Fast is
Your
fast.
days. Yes, like taxiing on the taxiway on the apron speed. But yeah, snow speeder. Like anyway, that was the big ticket item for Christmas of that year, and
crazy.
ever
So
since then,
you stole Paul's wolf. He could have bought that.
sorry, brew. But
It's
in terms
okay,
of media
man.
appearances, the Wolf is coming up short. It really didn't get the kind of love that it would have had it come out earlier. It's astonishing to me that Cobra's answer to the Snowcat came 2 years later. But beyond that, if GI Joe had their first snow specialist in '83 in Snow Job, Cobra only got theirs in '85, and they only got their vehicle in '87.
7.
At least Joe had the
Boy.
Battle Bear at the outset. So there was no Cobra response to Joe in the classic reception of the line. Of course, we in South Africa got things a bit lopsided because I had this Cobra Wolf and no GI Joe answer for it for the longest time. But it being a 1987 vehicle, it was cheated out of being in the cartoon series. Very sad. It was animated very briefly but very well in the commercial that featured it and the Sea Ray. But I guess its real starring role comes in the comic book. I mean, I say starring role, it was never really a star. But it did have an amazing appearance in issue 68. Not a star because it is a Cobra vehicle at the end of the day. And it will always be the enemy, it'll always be the thing to beat. But in Cut and Freeze Dried, issue 68 of the classic ARA Larry Hama written Marvel comic book, we see amazing, amazing artwork of this right throughout. And it's Ron Wagner on pencils. And that man,
And Wagner.
Ron Wagner had the Lord's work in this book. Like, he has to render the wolf, the maggot, the mamba, the Terradrome, all of the Battle Force 2000 vehicles, the Persuader, a C-130, a Snowcat, an LCV, and he does all of these vehicles with such accuracy. I mean, it's not lost on me, guys, exactly how difficult that is. And I'm an absolute pleb. Oh, there's an Ore Striker, just for good measure.
Oh yeah, why
The
not? Something with
Wolves are
wheels.
shown doing amazing things. At one point, Cobra Artillery opens up massive, like, rift in the ice flows. The Joes are on the other side of that rift, and there's water down there. But the Wolves are able to clear the gap. Very, very cool panels of the Wolves, like, or Wolves, because it's an acronym, jumping this massive ice crevasse and getting to the other side, surprise attacking the Joes, shooting the shit out of General Hawk's Ore Striker. I mean, he should be dead, dead, dead. But
Yeah,
he's got Joe plot armor, right?
that's right.
Some wonderful action shots in this
At least
issue.
he's warmer now.
This issue is like almost a season finale, plus a massive toy commercial. Like, they knocked out a few main vehicle features in this one. The wolf is one of them. The mamba to this point also didn't have too much shine. The maggots as well.
What is happening on that panel there with, it looks like Hawk and Snowjob?
Oh, this is Hawk and Iceberg.
There, yeah, it's Iceberg. I just couldn't see the
Yeah.
head. And I was
Well,
like,
Hawk
Hawk
is
and
bracing
Iceberg.
himself. Like, he's got his arms wrapped around Iceberg so Iceberg can take a shot with a law rocket launcher at a
Gotta get that shot in.
passing Cobra Wolf.
that's a great moment for the listeners. Like, you got this law staring down. Oh, you got the beady white eyes of a Cobra officer staring
Not
down the
just an
barrel
officer.
of a law.
That
Or
is
trooper.
an Ice
Huh?
Viper, but colored blue. I think the colorist had the wrong toy in hand that day.
He messed up.
My word, because that does look like a Cobra officer, like at first glance.
Yeah, he's got the red
Crazy.
balaclava, but also a blue helmet and blue bodysuit. So
Mhm.
it's Ice Viper in the artwork, but not in the coloring.
Coloring.
What's with those headphones over the helmet? That's so weird.
It is weird, but it's explained away in the plot because Cobra is pumping out paranoia waves from their Terradromes this entire issue. So you'll see all Cobra operatives with headphones on, and all Joe operatives supposedly making ill-advised decisions as a result, but they seem to win anyways.
Wow, paranoia just makes them better, I guess.
Yeah, the Joes are not neurotic.
Well, there's a last-minute save by the BF2K, and they've figured it out by that point. Anyway, good issue. You guys should read it sometime.
Battle fought.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually read it.
Terrific, terrific. Read it and then listen to the Chasing Joe issue episode that deals with it.
I'm gonna do it.
The
I'm
other
gonna do it.
podcast. But
But
I
that's
think
not
the issue that
that's
you
not the
will-
only issue. Yeah, that was featured in. I mean, I think probably at least the most famous cover that I remember seeing for. I feel like this is the
It's
issue
with
you
Snowjob.
owned for
Yes.
many years. Was GI Joe Special Missions issue 20,
Yep.
which is a cat and mouse game between the wolf and the snowcat, if I remember correctly.
Several wolves, in fact. It's a detachment
Yeah.
of 5 of them. And they're very cool. They've taken the time to number each one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that
Yes.
the reader can keep track of who's been destroyed and who's still operable. But I've loved this issue for a long, long, long time.
That's a great issue.
Because it also like it delves into the technicalities of like what ice warfare would be like. You know, kind of like how do you actually track people through snowstorms and stuff. You know, they kind of use the heat signatures of their opposing, their opponents to kind of find them more than kind of line of sight.
To anyone who hasn't read Special Missions 20, yes, absolutely. Very bad weather closes in on this battle very quickly. It's complete whiteout conditions. So it becomes like submarine warfare because the
Mm.
Joes and Cobras are both trying to outmaneuver for better positions to fire their missiles using infrared. So they're kind of tracking each other's heat signatures across the frozen tundra. And the October Guard's in there for good measure, just to make the Joes look good, basically, because they screw up at one point, and the Joes have to save their bacon and team up.
Whoops.
But yes, amazing showcase of the Wolf, just showing it in its element, doing its thing. Once again, baddie vehicle, it's never going to win the day, but you get to see its full capabilities.
Wonderfully drawn once again.
At one point, it uses ski pedos to throw the Joes off, because the ski pedos
Trademark.
at a low thrust can seem like a wolf to an infrared scanner. So it puts out a similar heat signature. So that is expanding away another use potentially of a ski pedo and why you would have this thing cruising along the snow as opposed to, a missile which you just shoot through the air. A ski pedo can fool sensors into being something that it's not, a decoy perhaps.
I love
Ski
that the
pedo
word
confuses
ski
all.
pedo,
Mhm.
ski pedos is a trademark, by the way. If you look at the back of the packaging of the Wolf, they
Oh.
mention removable ski pedos trademark. Which I
Well,
found.
Let's look at
That's
the back of the
fairly-
box as well. Courtesy of 3D Joe's. Why not? Let's use all the tools at our disposal. If you guys don't know 3D Joe's, you should. As Joe
You should
fans,
know
it is an
3D Joe's.
essential resource.
Yeah. Make a plan.
That's where at least Paul and Steve go to find all of their GI Joe information.
Well, just to look at them.
Since
Yeah.
yojo.com is no longer a going concern, I feel justified in punting Carson's
Oh no,
site.
absolutely. I'm just too old school. I can't let go of Yojo still works. There's nothing wrong with Yojo. But I will always use them.
I just enjoy. Yeah, I just
No,
enjoy
it's-
3D Joe's because of the posing.
I'm not saying 3D Joe's ain't good. I'm saying they're the best game game in the town for sure, 100%. I'm too used to Yojo. But yeah, the back of the packaging gives us a wonderful kind of like side shot of the Wolf and kind of like lays out all of its different abilities and all the different things you can find on here, including, as I said, removable ski pedos, trademark, unless it's. Oh, okay. Now I see
It's
what
quotation
it is now.
marks.
Quotation marks.
Oh.
Well, they knew they were inventing a new term. Ski
Yes.
pedos.
Well, it yeah. I mean, certainly on the
Just
they
when
do
you
call
thought
them-
it was safe to go back on the mountain.
They just call them ski torpedoes on the blueprints for sure.
Torpedoes.
Nice little description for the Cobra Wolf on here. A swift, new, winterized attack craft has just deployed within the Cobra battle arsenal. The Wolf poses a major threat to the GI Joe forces, guarding the Earth's Arctic regions. Wow, so
Wow.
GI Joes just deployed themselves in the Arctic regions to protect bears and penguins, I guess. Just hanging out up there just in case Cobra comes along.
And downed UFO craft that have been there, for years, depending on.
I
Oh,
love
obviously-
the fact that the
obviously.
copy says the Earth's Arctic regions. It suddenly makes the
Yes.
fight very global.
It's like, whoa,
Hmm.
okay.
We are doing battle over the Earth. Yes, my boy. The garbage truck's here. You got to check on that.
Whoa!
Do you want to open the door and take a look?
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh,
Boys, I got to look
that
at a
is
garbage truck.
cool.
You guys can find out more
Okay.
about the Cobra Wolf.
Oh, I'm.
Well,
definitely
Cobra
gonna talk
Wolf in a
about
way is kind of like a garbage truck. It kind of gets rid of the rubbish. GI Joes in the Arctic regions, firing
Man,
at them
like,
with its laser
with its
cannons.
pew pew laser cannon. Man, like, I don't want to give too much of this away while Steve's not give away, but I don't want to get
Oh,
into too
don't
much
wanna
of
give
this without
anything
Steve.
away,
But I
do
do
you?
want to say that I absolutely love the design of the wolf. It is.
It's gorgeous.
It is
it's
gorgeous.
It's so good. Like
When
it
you-
really does have a good silhouette,
It also epitomizes that 80s futuristic look, which I'm a huge fan of, and many of us are. If you look at it from the front, it kind of has this. It if they had spray painted this in like a different color and
Mhm.
maybe like covered up some of the more sort of, let's say, playful elements, like, you know, the little handles for the missiles or for the rockets, this would have been used as a prop in a sci-fi film, you know, in the
Oh,
background, or
100%,
some kind of
yeah.
speeder or something.
I
It's
really
just
appreciate. Yeah,
Mm.
it's so good. Just the lines are very straight. I mean, it's very detailed when you look at it up close, but it's very contained. But I
Mm.
do appreciate that they did hide the missiles. You know, it kind of like pops out,
My favorite
and then you
feature.
can fire them off.
My super favorite feature of the Wolf is exactly that rocket launcher, that pop-out
They-
feature. Oof, it was so cool. Like, you know, it's a great, like, if you've never built one of these before, like out of the box, and you get one.
I haven't,
you know,
unfortunately. But you own
me,
the modern era
I've got
one, so
both.
I
I've got a
assume
modern and a vintage. So
you
when I
build
got my
both of them.
vintage one, no,
Mhm.
no. So when I got my vintage one, part of me kind of forgot about that feature, you know, the pop-out missile thing, you know. And so when my thumb kind of like, yeah, so when my thumb kind of brushed that and it popped up, it was such a cool moment. And when I got this, I was at my offices. I was at like working in an office, and so a lot of guys, like, I'd had this on my desk, and a lot of my like colleagues would like check this out and be like, "Oh wow, what does it do?" And I'm like, doesn't do anything. It's just fun to play with, but it does have this cool thing, with like the missiles. And I also love, like, also just a small testament to the futuristic, or should I say, forward
retro
design, the retro futurism, but the forwardness of its design is the other ski pedos. So you know the top ones.
Yes.
Those
Those
are the actual ski pedo. Now that came as a pack-in with the Ice Viper for the Rise of Cobra movie.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like, it's their weapon, and then it's got like it's that sculpt, it's that mold, and it looks right, you know, it looks like futuristic. It looks like it's just kind of it looked right in the early 2000s when that movie came out. So yeah, these designers, they were like on point with this vehicle, at least from a visual aesthetic.
They were
And then you
years
can't
ahead of themselves.
totally, and also, like, you know, well, maybe we'll leave the Ice Viper for Steve post garbage truck inspection. But also a great feature of this, but one that freaks me out big time, is the treads. So it's got those little treads at the bottom that fold in, so you can go into like full hover mode.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yes.
see that?
I've never done this on this one before.
And you know that like trepidation you feel like you're scared of doing? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I love that it exists. I hate doing it because it like freaks me out. Like, I'm always scared I'm like gonna break it.
Yeah, I actually haven't done it on this one.
Yeah, and then, like, I would hate for you to break it on the show, but anyway.
Well, at least it's on record.
And it's a great feature. It's just, it's one of those scary features, you know, like you kind of.
I did it, guys! I did it.
Oh, you did it! You did it! There we go. It's got little Villikis and everything, little wheels,
little ones, and now it's just resting on the removable ones on the sides.
And
that's great.
And then it's got the little skis that can be utilized by troops. So by your hanger-ons, they can have a.
You deploy these, and you kind of have to put the inner ones.
And you have to put the treads on, yeah. So it's a bit like odd in that respect. But for me, this thing is always, even though it's like got the whole ski vibe, for me it's always been a little bit of like I don't want to say a hovercraft, but it does feel like the snow speeder from Star Wars. I always feel like it can maybe not get the altitude of the snow speeder, but I do feel like it can travel like that. And I know it's not intended to be like that because of the treads, but I've always liked that idea. In my head, that's sometimes how I play. And while we're still speaking about a lot of the visual aesthetics, that logo for the wolf, well, should I say the insignia for the Cobra W.O.L.F is chef's kiss. I absolutely love that. I had it.
It's literally
gorgeous. Yeah, and it's
still pretty cool.
And it's weird. It doesn't look like a bad guy vehicle insignia. At least not to me. It doesn't. To me, it looks like it would fit really well on something like the Snowcat.
Yes, because I mean,
except for the fact that it's a dog.
Yeah, what's a vicious animal? And I think kind
You're a
of
vicious
the
animal.
vicious the viciousness of the animal doesn't suggest evil. It just suggests like a powerful craft. And I mean,
Yeah.
Tiger Force used that in a lot of their designs. Adding the teeth to the vehicles and the eyes and stuff like that. So it's more as a more intimidation factor, I think. But yeah, it's a great symbol for a vehicle type.
And then it's also got that very classy font, that great font that the Cobra vehicles used in the earlier parts of the 80s, even though this is an 87 vehicle.
What do you mean
I
for
do
the
like,
numbering and stuff?
yeah, the numbering and just the graphic design on this vehicle is also like quite. It's not overdone. It's in the same league as something like the Rage. It's got that
Yes.
kind of it's
got
like a nice,
just enough.
yeah, and it's also like that design also feels like, for me, it's on the line. It's like the old white armor GI Joe. I mean, old white armor Cobra things, like the claw and the snake armor, and then we're going into the Rage. So I feel like its design, its insignia, and its font and all that
Now,
stuff kind of
I've
feels
only
like a
seen
bridge between those.
pictures of the modern era version of this, but in the pictures, it doesn't feel quite right to me. So the white of the original wolf feels more like the kind of classic Cobra white, the kind of like off white that you get with the that little flying vehicle and the snake armor. But from pictures that I've seen of the modern era one, it looks almost too pure white.
It's too white. It's a very cold white. Yeah.
Yeah. And even the canopies themselves or also appear, the blue appears a little bit off to me, at least from pictures I've seen.
So next to each, okay, so age is obviously a factor with the vintage one. So
I know,
I mean, I've
absolutely.
never seen a vintage
There will
one
be
fresh.
something going on there with the color would be a bit different, but I still feel like it was on purpose. The original is the Cobra white, that kind of off white.
Yes.
It's on purpose like that, while they didn't replicate that in the modern era version.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think there's a little bit more green in the canopy mixture. So it's not as blue, but then again, aging on the original, on the vintage, could make it seem that way. Yeah. So
if you've owned a
all in
wolf
all,
since childhood, if it has
yellow.
yellowed over time, if it's anything like mine, it's been very gradual and very graceful aging. Like it's not gone brown. It's just taken on maybe a slight
it still feels like the original Cobra white, that kind of like that Cobra white. Well, at least from pictures I've seen of the modern one, I was just saying it looks too white. Maybe it's just the newness of it, but at least they kind of reproduced it pretty accurately. I believe there's also in 2007 a mail away version of the Cobra Wolf, which actually changed out some of the parts for black parts, and that looked a bit off. They kind of replaced the missile rack with black. They replaced a couple of other parts with black.
That's gross. That sounds gross.
It to me at least it looked kind of off. What else did they
Such a
replace?
lie.
Black? Yeah, they replaced the missile. This part was black. The ski peters were black, and then also the cowling on the back of the engine here is also black. It just looks off.
Ugh.
Like it has to be all white
How
for it
naff.
to work.
You just had
I
little
see a
bit
picture of
excess
that.
black plastic, and they decided to.
And
like,
the ski peters are also like black. Like that looks that's super naff. Like it doesn't work. It looks like a panda.
Share for the class. I want to see this thing.
Okay, let me see if I can get.
It
Rob, have you
takes
got one to? If you got a picture to hand?
Oh yeah, for sure. I can definitely.
While Rob rustles that up, the 50th anniversary has a nice little. I don't want to. I dare not call it an Easter egg, but a bit of a faux pas at the back of the box, because in the back of the box the wolf is shown inverted, so the canopies are on the starboard side of the vehicle, the right hand side of the vehicle.
So
they flipped the image.
So at least to the for the podcast people, is for Stephen's benefit. You can see the 1991 mail away version of the wolf, and they have replaced several of the pieces with the black. which
I don't
to
mind
me
it
at
as
least.
I don't mind it as much as I thought I would because it's the same color as the front skis, the side skis,
Yes, but it
the
feels like
gun.
it's but especially okay, if some of these like the ski peters I can kind of accept, but especially the covering for the missiles, it feels like a car that's missing a panel and they kind of just slapped on any old other panel they could to
Yeah.
replace it, you know? Like once you've seen it all white, it looks wrong. So to me, it's kind of like it's a beaten up old wolf that they've kind of like,
Jalopy.
oh, gotta throw this one back out there.
Like body filler everywhere.
Yeah.
It's exactly the
Okay,
vibe.
guys. Praise train time. What is your
Ooh.
favorite thing on the Cobra W.O.L.F?
I was going
Oof.
to ask the same question of you.
Were you guys
Um,
are wild.
in sync.
Oof, that is crazy.
Anyway,
But seeing as you guys are both asking, I guess I'll answer.
yes.
I enjoy the setup of the cockpit. I like that it's kind of like this tiered cockpit setup. And the fact that it's very easy to get characters in and out of here. There's just something about the kind of tieredness of it. They sit very comfortably in here. There's like a ton of space in here to put your figures in, and especially the front one, you do have a little bit extra detailing in there for the guy to kind of like move the wolf around. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, and also the back seat does have a little bit extra. I think it's like a sticker they added on there, so you can kind of see in there. Because I believe it's the guy at the back who is the guy who controls the guns or is the gunner for the vehicle.
The 20mm Ripper cannon. Now,
Ooh.
it's in line with Cobra naming their weapons after actual operatives. I don't know if Ripper was aware of the fact that he has his name appropriated by a gun.
I'm sure he does. He gave his name to it for sure. Sure.
So flattered.
So yeah, that is probably my favorite detail. The second favorite is the missiles popping up like that.
Good ones. Rob, you can't take all the good ones.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying that's my second.
I mean, we can
favorite.
share them. We can share them.
No, actually,
I can't think of a greater endorsement for those features if the three of us,
all of us like that.
So, all of
Well,
us.
I'm gonna modify Rob's then with a little knick-knack, little thing that I've kind of made notice of only recently. I mean, I've always known about it, but I've taken it for granted. Exactly how easy it is to slide the missiles out. This wasn't finger flick technology. This wasn't a case of like getting around behind them and being able to shoot them with your fingers. But the fact that they have this little ridged detail as part of the missile's actual fin that allows you to slide them out of the launch tubes kind of one-ups what you have with, say, the Snowcat. It was always touch and go, trying to slide those missiles in and out of the very tight rails. Whereas with the Wolf, they're not tight. They're kind of loose-fitting, but gravity and friction holds them in just enough.
They want to come out.
And you can slide them out with the greatest of ease and then have your missiles in hand without any kind of like having to finagle them along the track.
So easy.
Clever. And those little ridges make it very ergonomic, very user-friendly. And the fact that it conceals this little pop-up door for the missiles. So nice. So stealth fighter, like it's got internal bays for its ordnance. Very good. Paul, your favorite thing?
My favorite thing, and I'm gonna do what Rob did as well. My favorite thing is the pop-up missile launcher. I absolutely love it. I did mention it in detail while you were away, Steve. So I don't want to bore the listeners by repeating myself on that, but I do absolutely love that feature. It's such a great feature. And my second favorite feature of the Wolf is the cockpit. The detail in the cockpit is just, it just works. It's just, it feels like a jet. It's got the handles. It's got the little screens. It's so cool. You can really get a camera close in there and tell a story with it. It's not.
Yeah, you saw close I could get up in there.
Yeah, you don't have to like skirt around it, and I think that's a great piece of great piece of detail that is on the Wolf. That is not maybe the most obvious, but something I absolutely love. So the Wolf's
padded seats.
Yes, and
these guys are traveling in comfort. My goodness.
Well, it's amazing how black plastic can imitate the feel of like a deeply cushioned padded seat. Like it's got that sort of ribbing, it's got the texture to it. Another nice texture which breaks up the the wolf's skin, as it were, is there's like sort of a grip pattern on the sort of the sides.
Yes.
So it breaks up the smoothness of the wolf with this grippiness, where the characters will hold on to, Rob.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
The
yes, yes.
top back of the thrusters, outside, external.
Ah.
I also feel like
yeah.
a special mention should go to the intakes of the wolf. It's got these intakes. They are so.
Probably can't see it.
They're
that
so
well on
crazy.
camera.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Little
There's
hinges that
stippling.
hint at like accessing little panels. I mean, there aren't any removable engine panels, but there's so much detail you almost don't miss it.
Yeah.
There's
you
a
kind of
vent
see the stippling
behind.
there.
Yes, that's where it is. There's a vent behind the missile launcher, and you can see into the sort of the black plastic molding underneath. And they've
Yes.
bothered to detail that. I mean, you
Mhm.
will not see it unless you've actually assembled this vehicle yourself, or if you really just are able to kind of X-ray
Shine a light
eyes
in there.
through there.
Yeah.
Shine a light in there.
It's
That
dope.
is amazing attention
Clever.
to detail.
And the coolest thing about this vehicle, which I only realized today, because obviously having never received it myself, it came in the box in two pieces. It is literally just the white part and then the black part. You know, it's a top and a bottom. That kind of just goes bloop together. You kind of attach all the little greebly bits to it, and then you just poof, smash it together. Wow, how easy is that? How simple? It's crazy. Like you compare it to some of the earlier vehicles where it was like build your own, GI Joe vehicle, but they kind of got to a point where they could still maintain great detail, but ease of construction.
Stunning.
So,
How?
One ups the Snowcat as well. Let's just give it a little bit more shine
put it
on
out
the
there.
gun,
Just
the
put it out
double barrel 20mm Ripper cannon. Now,
Yeah.
for the longest time, I had it
elevated.
on the wrong way. I had
Ooh.
the gun stand just angled the wrong direction. So it should.
Oh no!
When
Did you
the
have
when
it
the barrels
angled
are
forward like this?
well, no. When the barrels are facing forward, the
Yeah.
stand should angle rearwards. I did it the other way around, to kind of push it forward even
Interesting.
further.
That's crazy.
I
can
know.
I can see that
Absolute
a mistake
madness.
like that being made. It's pretty easy if you
It's
you
a
know.
universal fit. You can put the gun on frontwards or backwards on that stand.
Yeah, fair enough.
And for the longest time, mine was. But lovely that the Wolf has a gun. It certainly one-ups its competition, as I say.
Mm-hmm.
It has multiple points for you to attach troops, as Carson has done. Or was it Chad Hukal? In the photo shoot for the Cobra Wolf.
Yeah. Hangers on.
Wonderful, wonderful photography.
They
They
have
really get the vehicles on
at
3D
least
photos.
5
Ooh.
snow serpents sort of assembled around the vehicle.
That can slingshot off this thing. Which is
Did you guys
pretty
talk
cool.
about the detachable skis?
We did mention
Indeed,
it, yeah.
we did. We
We
showed
did.
them off a little bit, and the fact that the little inner ones also do pop inwards. I even did it on live on camera the first time.
Amazing.
Without
the
breaking
Does
trick,
it
yeah.
terrify you, Rob?
It does. The
It
first
does.
time
You
I
can see it in his
attempted
face
it,
in the footage.
but it's pretty straightforward, thankfully.
And I
it
think-
does fold quite easily.
And I feel like this is also a good moment for the buyer beware or wolf owner beware.
Smart.
I do find that the treads are a bit of a niggly area, something that can possibly break because it requires a little bit more force than normal to fold them in. And I think those clips are going to get brittle over time. But actually,
Fair
the
enough.
canopies, I think guys
Ooh,
need
that's a
to
good
be
one
very
too.
careful with the canopies. It's very easy to crack them when you have to, because you have to give them like a subtle pinch to lift the canopy glass. And
Yes.
that is like on my vintage, which is actually missing the little teeth that bite into it. It's no problem.
no,
But on the
don't say
modern
that.
one, the modern one's teeth are nice and fresh. So it's got that clip. So you kind of really click. So yeah, just be careful of those. Those are some pain points on this, for sure. Those, I think those are commonly broken parts as well. So yeah, just be super careful with those
Scary.
things on the vehicle. I don't think it's enough to really knock the vehicle down or to criticize the
No,
vehicle's
obviously
design.
not. It just
It's
means,
just a product of its time. Yeah.
something to look out for when you are purchasing your Wolf.
And
Shall
also,
we
yes,
talk about
Talk
Ice Viper?
about the ice.
yes,
Viper.
we need to speak about the Ice Viper in the
We
room.
need to talk about, and what an incredible character. Hey, they are apparently the Cobra Wolf driver. Ice Vipers are the mechanized branch of the snow serpents, both of which must first qualify as Cobra Eels, Cobra Frogmen. They must take the additional training of Techno Vipers and be prepared to service and repair their own vehicles in hostile Arctic environments. Ice Vipers are fed a special high-fat diet to help retain body heat and have their faces depilated to prevent frost from their breath icing up their beards. When it's 40 degrees below zero on the tundra and everybody is buttoned up tight in their shelter because an ice storm is blowing in from the north, that's when you have to worry about the Ice Viper sneaking up on you. Out there in the big whiteness, there isn't any place to hide. Whoever bundles up first, because he figures it's too cold to fight, loses.
Whoa.
So I had to look up what the heck depilated was.
Yeah,
And
please. That's today's word. Depilated.
So depilation is when you remove the hair. It's essentially the process of removing hair. So I suppose similar to like laser hair removal, essentially. So they get
it was the 80s. They were using a cream.
using a cream or something. So essentially,
or an everything.
yeah. So what the Ice Vipers have to do is that they essentially get the hair completely removed from their faces. So Ice Vipers underneath their little scarf here are baby faced, every single one of them, because of ensuring that they don't freeze up their masks with frost.
And where does that hair grow? Because I've heard it said that if you remove hair on one part of your body, that the hair finds a way to grow somewhere else. Like, I could be an old wives' tale, but
they have very hairy arms.
But let's entertain it for 2 seconds. Like, maybe it's a Cobra plot, like depilate your face and then the extra hair grows on your back or something that helps keep them extra warm.
Or on their feet, maybe they're hobbits. They're very
Nice.
hairy feet.
Hobbitses.
Yeah. Those aren't fur boots. Those are actually his feet. Guys, fantastic figure. Really top rate. Like, vehicle drivers did not have to be as good as they were. We were so spoiled. Ice Viper is amazing. I would have bought this guy single carded. He's just that good.
He's 2 figures, dude. He's 2 figures. Yeah. You have the helmet on, and he's an Ice Viper driver of the Wolf. You take the helmet off, and he's Ice Ninja. They're like almost 2 different figures for me. And it's crazy.
I can see it, because
you can see it, right?
It's a very ninja head.
Yes.
Alas,
very
3D
ninja
Pros
head.
is lacking in unmasked Ice Viper.
Yes.
What a shame.
We're gonna have somebody's got to send Carson an email.
Now, for the longest time, I would keep my helmet down with the goggles kind of obscuring the eyes. But
yes, I was about to say, this is a debate, isn't it?
I think the intention is that it's pushed back. If the goggles are rested on the helmet. But it is a cool look to have them down like that. And it's great that the accessory is ambiguous enough to give you that option. Like, you can have
it's because you can kind of it's easy enough for you to kind of like slide it down. You know, you can.
I think that's a feature. Like,
unintended.
Slide it down.
No, I think it's an intended feature. I think there was some
slide
source
it down
behind that,
and then it very easily kind of just goes up.
Like, look at that. It looks beautiful. Guys on the screen, Rob's just showing us like having the helmet up a little bit and fully down. And it
pushed down.
And it does accommodate both comfortably. Like, I think like you've unlocked something for me today, Rob. I've personally never thought of displaying my Ice Viper with the goggles up like that. I've always just had the goggles over the eyes.
I think it looks cooler up because it kind of gives him more character. And then, as Paul said, if you take it completely off, he becomes an Ice Ninja.
Yeah. There we go. I am a ninja of the
Supported
eye.
by the accessories. A pair of size? Are you kidding me?
What the hell?
Why?
Wait, he comes with a pair of size?
Is it because he's got a red balaclava? He's channeling Raphael? A full 2 years before Raphael was an established thing in pop
Even a
culture?
thing? How dare he?
Well, actually,
That's cheating.
to be fair, the Ninja Turtles came out before 87.
An established thing in pop culture, Paul. I'm not a, you know, like nobody knew about the turtles in like the
I
mid
caught
80s.
I caught that. I was just thinking. Anyway, let's not go into the Ninja Turtles. So he's got two sides.
He's just testing you.
Why?
Yeah, he does.
They are
Why?
rubbery,
apparently.
so they're less prone to breakage, but they are prone to being lost. And if
Oh,
you
big time.
used the incredible feature of being able to not sheath, but like clip the size to these sort of retainers on the figure's sculpted like thighs, the chances are high that you'd lose them inside the wolf interior. So if you have a wolf that might not be your own, might have been bought on the aftermarket, and there's a little bit of a rattle, maybe crack it open. You might be gifted a pair of size, or at least one of them.
Or spider
I'm on the
eggs.
hunt for one more. I've only got one.
Ooh.
I think that's
Crazy.
where mine was lost, but I don't have the heart to open mine up, and I don't hear any rattle. So if it's stuck in there, it's stuck tight.
It is
But
really
yeah,
stuck in there.
You're gonna get
I
everybody
lost
opening their
mine
wolves
shortly.
now. The wolves.
I lost mine
Sorry.
shortly after discovering that feature. I was like, "Oh, cool! I can put him in the
Ah.
cockpit with his weapons attached." Oh,
And
his
then
weapon didn't come out.
Gone forever.
Where
Wait
is
a
it?
minute.
I was a
We're
dumb
good.
8-year-old.
Cobra, the Ice Viper Sai is definitely an accessory that says a lot about your personality. You know, if you still have your original Ice Viper size from childhood, you know, it tells people that you are very careful and very meticulous, or very scared of the world and need to touch grass. I don't know. There's many explanations I'm sure it can give you, but yeah, it is a rare accessory and it is quite a beloved accessory because
I'm
it's
sure.
one of the very few times Sai for 1 to 18 scale figures have been done accurately, size-wise. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like...
size-wise.
Oh, how dare you? Size
Oh.
or size-wise?
But-
Size.
But it is a cool accessory in that respect. So never mind the fact that it's rare and easily lost. It's actually a well-made accessory. It's
I mean, I feel like the only ones we got after that were from the 90s on those trees, wasn't it?
Did we though? I don't remember getting
Did
Sai.
we?
Yeah,
I feel like there
did we,
were.
though? No, we did get a ridiculous Sai for like for Deadpool. That was like almost the size of his leg. It was like
No,
that Sai would
but
fit
I mean,
comfortably on a Ninja Turtle toy.
but
you
like
know?
from, I mean, like I feel like some of them came with them.
Well, while you're
in
doing
those
that, I want to posit a
trees.
question. So
Please
Rob,
do.
you did a write-up. You did a write-up of, I mean, a read-up of the file card now, and
I did.
so
Yes.
it does say that they are they have to go through the same training as the snow serpents, right? And then they become drivers.
Yeah, so
But-
both of them go through the same training, yeah. And they do extra
Yeah.
training, Techno Viper training.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm kind of curious about, because as I understand how that works in the military,
Mm-hmm.
is that if, for example, you are a Navy SEAL, you are a Navy SEAL, and you get taught the Navy SEAL suite of specialty, you know, and
Yeah,
tactics.
those skills. And so you get
Okay.
this specialized.
But you still, you know, before you go into the Navy SEALs, you still
Mhm.
like either Navy Engineer Corps or Navy this or Navy that. So you probably have leanings towards, let's say they say that they can repair the vehicles in the field, which means there's a slant towards engineering.
Yeah.
So for me, it doesn't make sense that you go through some of the most intense training known to our modern military. Because
to
you know,
become Cobra Eels.
yeah, because you go through being
then
an
you
eel,
specialize them
and then you
even
become a then you become a snow serpent.
land-based guy.
Yeah, then you become a serpent. That doesn't bug me. That makes sense to me to a degree.
Okay.
But then to like branch and then specialize into being a driver, it's like, wouldn't you have that specialty before you became a Navy SEAL, before you became an EELS? And
so
that's why that sort of feels a bit backwards for me. So yeah.
So they
Yeah.
basically they choose the best of the best to become the guy who sits in the vehicle and drives it around.
Yeah,
I suppose they
It's not
really-
just a vehicle, guys. It is the Cobra
an
W.O.L.F.
adventure.
Well, it's a vehicle that places a high demand on you. You're not just driving a truck around base.
Yeah,
You're driving
mean-
a highly specialized vehicle in a very unforgiving part of the world. So Wolf drivers, Ice Vipers are elite. They have to be.
Yeah, I
Otherwise, they would
suppose
just
to a
not
certain
be.
degree. I mean, yeah, I mean the environment of ice is as unforgiving as say the ocean itself can be, where your survival is dependent upon your vehicle and your training to be able to even get through the situations you're thrown into.
The file card goes one step further
Can
and
make
makes it sound
sense.
like they even thrive in the cold. That when everyone else is buttoning up, these crazy mofos are the ones sneaking around, maneuvering for position and
Yeah.
basically putting the knife in your back or the sigh in your brain, the ice pick.
Yeah.
So he
But, I mean-
is hard as hell.
Well, guys, we all know that person. We've all got that friend or know that person who, like, during winter has got a jacket on but is wearing shorts,
Ooh,
and then,
true.
we know that person. We know those guys that go snowboarding and they have shorts on, like those
Or
people exist.
topless.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Guys, isn't it cute? The blueprints at point number 16 refer to the sticker sheet. Official GI Joe battle insignia specifications, or at least the label application
that
instructions.
is wow. It's a
Point
blueprint.
16 points at the sticker placement instructions. That's
No
So
cat
very
walk-offs.
fun.
We're at that point where kind of it was a little bit less realistic, because obviously, I mean, a lot of the earlier blueprints were all very much like these are the specs, it's tech specs of the vehicles. But now it's just like, oh, by the way, don't
A little
forget
bit
stickers.
of suspension of
Well, they
disbelief,
do
yeah.
dress it up. They say official GI Joe battle insignia specifications, which is suspension of
Okay.
disbelief. It's like this is how you would detail your wolf. and
Your
this is
Cobra
specific.
Wolf.
Exactly.
I do
Have we
like.
spoken about the acronym? Just very briefly.
No.
We haven't. Let's briefly speak about it.
So
Or
what
you
is an
speak
issue?
about it.
So the reason I in the blurb for this episode and at the beginning I kind of made it ambiguous. The box calls it a winter operational light fighting vehicle, a Wolf V. But there is a
Wolf V.
sticker which calls it a light fighter or land fighter. Sorry, the winter operations land fighter. Which do you prefer? It's sticker number 18, by the way, and the resolution on 3D Joes is amazing, but not good enough to show us that sticker. I don't know, Rob, if you can hold up yours.
I understand the need to have the word vehicle in it, but I don't like it.
There it is.
It feels a little bit redundant or a little bit
So
hyperbolic.
up for grabs, it's either the Winter Operations Land Fighter, as the sticker would say, or the Winter Operations Light Fighting Vehicle. Which do you prefer?
That is so interesting.
I just
Isn't it just
like it without the word vehicle. I can't decide if I like light fighter or land fighter more.
Well,
but-
it's easier to ignore the box than a sticker that's on the vehicle. So you are the winner. Ding, 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 ding,
That's
ding.
true.
The Winter Operations
Yes,
Land
would.
Fighter.
Ding ding.
Winning.
It's a good one.
And
Ding, ding.
I also feel like it's important to just quickly
Ding,
mention
ding.
as well that giving it the Snowcat
Actually, it's
knockdown stickers or knockout stickers, it kind of puts it at odds with the Snowcat. So
yes.
I love that they immediately sort of like establish that this is a rival, that there's a rivalry between these two vehicles, and I love
It's
that.
basically killed all of GI Joe's snow combatants because if you're crewing a snowcat with 2 people at least, and the wolf has killed 4
Oh wait, yeah,
snowcats,
that's all of their. Yeah, that's all of their snow fighters.
that's Frostbite and Snowjob, that's Sub-Zero and Avalanche, that's White. What's his name?
Whiteout,
Snowstorm
blowjob.
and Iceberg. They're all DED, dead.
Well, their
And I
vehicles
like how they've actually taken the actual stickers from GI Joe and stuck them onto their own vehicle and then put a line through them.
Yep.
Brilliant. Yep, it
Are
is
they?
absolutely the Snowcat's signature kitty marking with a strike
It's-
through it. Amazing.
It's a fun rivalry. I like that kind of thing, especially after having seen like that Masters of the Air show.
But the
Guys,
wolf
I'm gonna
definitely
love
wins.
and leave you because it's time to get the world started. This side of the globe.
Sounds great.
I would like to say
Well-
that I personally watched on YouTube our last podcast and was rather embarrassed how many ads YouTube has started inserting. Now, as
Oh,
content
really?
creators, we have very little control over YouTube inserting ads. They emailed me to say that they were changing their ad policy and that they were going to give us more revenue. I'm not sure that's entirely true, but they definitely changed their ad policy in that the frequency of ads, which we used to have some control over, we have far less control over. So
Yeah, now
if
we
you
have
are
some
frustrated,
podcasts.
if you are frustrated at YouTube's placement of ads, interrupting your GI Joburg time with us, I would urge you perhaps to join a YouTube membership. So, I mean, you can buy your way out of the ads. You can suffer through them like I do because I want to know what the user experience is like. But just know that we have no control, and it might stay the same or it might get worse.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
if you wanted to become a member or a patron of the channel, we will be offering this podcast ad-free with the monetization settings turned off and
there we
early.
go.
So
Yes.
You
benefits
get to
to
see
you
them
for
early.
In
chucking
fact,
us,
no
I think, $3 a
adverts.
month. That's what it's at.
Do it.
And to that end, we thank our patrons as always, and YouTube.
We love
thank
you guys.
sexy people.
So
And
much,
guys, just to add to what Steve said there as well, it's retroactive as
something
well.
cool.
It's actually a retroactive thing as well. Like all the videos, all the early access videos that you've received on Patreon and GI Joburg's YouTube membership shouldn't have ads. Anyway, so that's those
Shouldn't.
links take you to the non-advertised versions. Just
there
putting
we
that
go.
out there. Should do. If you encounter one that does.
Correction. Well, it's not retroactive. Well, I mean, it's YouTube has retroactively applied this ad policy, but I'm
Everything.
saying moving forward, every podcast released beyond this point will have a ad-free membership and patron access.
That's correct. Yeah.
Version.
Long
There we
story
go.
short, however you like to
Subscribe.
listen or watch GI Joburg will still be available. But
There we
if
go.
you are groaning about the bloody ads,
Like,
you have
adverts.
options.
There we go.
The
If you
option
don't
of
mind
addiction-
ads, that's cool too. Sometimes it's interesting to see the latest Gillette, shavers that are out
or
there.
whatever happens to be showing in your
some
region.
sort of,
Alternatively, I mean, some of us join YouTube Premium. Some of us have businesses that pay
guilty
for
as
their
charged.
YouTube Premium.
I pay for it myself. I have no
Oh, you
business
do?
that pays.
What a
Yeah,
guy. What a guy. Anyways,
I pay for
I
YouTube
understand.
Premium.
But
I
anyway.
can't. We
check
sound
you
like
next
an
week
ad
for another
channel for
episode
them
of
now.
GI Joburg.
Same.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Berg.
Berg.
Oh, you guys sticking around? Or am I
No.
bouncing?
We
Oh,
are
we're
good.
ending the podcast.
You still have
in
to
that
end the
case,
stream, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love and
We've-
leave y'all.
We have chatted and gone on about the snow.
Joe.
Berg.